And welcome everyone to another Telescript tutorial video. Today we're going to take a quick pass through the preference settings inside of Telescript Tech. You'll notice that the Telescript Tech preferences are a little bit more pared down than what you would find in Telescript AV or Telescript Pro, but they are just as important. So let's dive in here. So we're going to go up to Tools and then Preferences, and you'll get your Preferences window open. And on the first tab, the General tab, you'll find some stuff that is just very basic things. Your file and folder options. You can select the option to reload the last open script when you restart the computer. When you go to save a file, you can have a little window come up and just confirm that you actually do want to save the file. So you have an option to turn that on and off. And then here's where you're going to select which folder that Telescript Tech looks in. You can set up a script folder that you want, and then you can direct it using the Browse tab here, where you can automatically look at the same script folder every time you open up Telescript Tech. Or you can set it to, you can open up the file dialog for the last folder that you accessed in your last session with Telescript Tech. So very basic settings, but depending on how you like to operate, it's helpful to have these choices to select in here. And then down at the bottom here, you do have something called Quick Zoom. This is your zoom level control, so depending on which way you have this slid to the right or the left will dictate how much the zoom level function actually zooms out. So if you notice on your XK12 controller, you do have a button that's labeled zoom, and on your 10 button controller you have a blue button in the lower left. If you press that button, you'll see that your zoom function activates on what you've got on the screen at that moment. So that preference setting for the zoom setting, that controls the amount that it zooms out. So that covers the General tab. In the Script tab, this is where you're going to set a lot of your script defaults. You can set up your font default, your point size default, colors for your color and background, alignment, and all this kind of stuff. And here's the important thing. I did another video specifically on default, so if you want to watch that video, that'll just give you a better idea of when to select these. But in a nutshell, as you import scripts, if you want to import the script with all of its current settings and defaults as it was created in whatever it was, Word, those attributes will import in and display once you open up the script. If you want to force a font face style or a size or a color or all that kind of stuff, you can select these as you need them, and then those will overwrite whatever the attributes are in the file that you're importing. But again, there is another video specifically on how these defaults work, so you can take a look at that and you can dig a little deeper. And then finally on the bottom, you've got cut and paste options. If you're cutting and pasting from a source, you can choose to select the attributes to be carried over when you paste it into Tech or not. So you just turn this one on and off depending on which option you want. Moving over to the Controller tab. The Controller tab right up the top here, if you're going to use a mouse, you can use either cursor movement or the scroll wheel. We do recommend using the scroll wheel if you have a mouse with a scroll wheel. It's probably the easier way to scroll. It mimics exactly what your control dials do on your XK12 and your UHC 100s. But you also could use cursor movement if you only have a computer that's got a touchpad. You can push it back and forth and it will go forwards and backwards if that's the way you want to operate. Then you have the section in the middle here for the 10-button controller. The port timeout section really is just a computer function. It allows the computer to take a certain amount of time to find the controller that you've plugged in before it decides to time out and move on to the next port. So this you usually can leave however it comes when you install it initially. That really doesn't need to be changed. But then you've got the Find All Controllers button. So if you plug in a controller after you've opened up the program and for some reason it's not looking at it, all you need to do is just click Find All Controllers. A little window will open up. It'll tell you what it's found, where it's been assigned, and you can now use that controller. You know that it's connected just by going through this little window here. Down here you have the HID controller area. This is for basically our XK12 controller, which is considered a human interface device. Just some settings in here that you can play around with. You've got control resolution as you slide this left or right. This will control how fast and how quickly the dials on the XK12 will react. Here, this is just some foot pedal options. We did have an old foot pedal that you'd be able to kind of tap the buttons to the right and tap the buttons to the left. We leave it in here because some people do still have that foot controller. We've moved on now to wireless foot controllers, so this really doesn't pertain to that, but we leave it in here just for those that do have the old foot controllers, and you can just a couple of quick settings here that you can change depending on how you want to use it. Down at the bottom here, so you've got the XK12 button operations. Now the XK can come with either previous and next marker buttons on them, or load save buttons on them. Generally they come with the previous and next marker buttons, but if for some reason your controller has load save buttons, you can just switch this over here, and you can go back and forth between depending on what configuration your XK12 controller buttons are. And finally, on this tab, you've got the XK12 dimmer control. On the dimmer control, as you notice on your XK12, you've got some bunch of backlit keys, and if you want to change the intensity of those keys, maybe you don't want any backlighting at all, you would just I don't have a XK12 connected right now, but if you would click this, a little box would open up and it would give you the options on how intense you want those lights to be, or if you want to turn them off, you have the option to turn them off. Moving to the prompter tab. Okay, so the prompter display at the top here. So this is important for those who are going to be using the flipped teleprompter display option here. So obviously most people are going to be working in a single monitor mode, where you're connected to your external display and you're just basically mirroring your desktop. Now, if you have a situation where you're working with a teleprompter monitor that actually is not a traditional teleprompter monitor that has the flip function in it, you can use this to flip the external scroll. So what you would do is you would plug in your computer, make sure the resolution that your computer is sending is identical to the resolution that is set on your external desktop. So you'll have to change this into your computer will need to be changed to external desktop mode. Make sure the monitor itself is able to accept the same resolution that your laptop is sending, and then you can check off horizontal or vertical depending on how you want to flip it on the external monitor. And you can also reflect that flip on the computer screen. That's unlikely that you would want that. What you would want is you'd want your laptop to be the correct orientation, and then only the teleprompter display to have the text flipped, so you can see it in the mirror. At the bottom here, just some miscellaneous stuff. You can, when you go to full screen scroll, you can hide the cursor while you're scrolling. It'll automatically do that if you select that option. And then link to the top is when you get to the end of your script, it'll automatically jump back to the top of the script rather than parking itself at the bottom. Also, your speed gradient, again, you can tweak this as far as how fast or slow you want the increase or the decrease of the scroll as you turn the dial. You can change that here. And then finally, you have your arrow position depending on where you want to put your read marker. Right now it's at 50%. You can leave it at 50%, or if you'd like to change it and move it up, you can just slide it up and put it at 30%. And if you want to go back to center, just click center, and that's the arrow position setting. And here in the performance tab, you just got a few quick little settings that you can play around with. If your scroll just doesn't quite look perfectly smooth, you can disable the font smoothing. That might help a little bit. If you want to automatically have tech disable your screensavers and auto hide your taskbar, and disable all the background suspend stuff for controllers and USB ports, you can select all these just to make it a little bit easier. Most people select all of these, and they generally don't have any problems with the way everything operates. And very important here in the logging area, make sure that enable logging is checked off. If it's not checked off, if you do have a technical problem that needs programming to take a look to see what was actually going on at the time you experienced the problem, If we don't have log files, we really can't assess what exactly was going on at that time. So it's very important to enable the logging and just take note of where the folder is that all these log files are stored. And that's about it. Thanks for watching our little video on the preferences in Telescript Tech. You can check out all of our videos on our YouTube channel. And if you got any questions, give us a call, 201-767-6733, or shoot us an email at info@telescript.com. Thanks.